Well, it's a nice sunny day. About it's the 21st of January 2014. I have taken pictures of Langdon Park before in the summertime. I thought yesterday when I was out that I would take some winter shots. So here we are at the beginning. There's no snow removed, so we can go into the park in there. I had to climb on a snowbank, and we're going to head down our main road, which used to be our road into the parking lot, but we've since kept the gate locked because of people were up to. But anyway, this will be for my own nostalgia reasons, and hopefully someone else might be interested in it. So here's a part of the parking lot. It's actually a good size, and I kept a section of it clear for several years, but we couldn't get people to stop using it as their own personal garbage bin and that sort of stuff, so the gate has been closed. Now this is the entrance, what we call it, to the north entrance of the trail, or the trailhead, and you see that there's some instructions, and you have to ignore the dog off the leash at the moment, because first she's got a bad leg, and secondly I have a bad leg. So okay, we'll carry on to the trail. Right here is one of the four benches that have been installed here. This one was provided by our local councillor, Councillor Ron Dupuy, and he did another one, and I'll show you the other ones. Now here we're going to a little bit of a pine forest. It's basically white pines, red pines, excuse me, and they have all the looks of being planted, although not planted very evenly. So basically red pine and spruce are our evergreen trees. To our left here is a wetland. There used to be a gravel pit here. There used to be a swimming hole. It was apparently very popular with the local people, and I've met a few of them and talked about it, and it was apparently quite great. A friend of mine had said, "Oh, I used to swim there." I said, "What? How did you swim there?" Well, things were different at that time. Now you can see on the right hand side there's a bunch of pines, and ahead of us they're having a birch, and I have a painting that a friend did of this section, and I was given it as a present a couple of years ago, Christmas I think it was, a couple of years ago, and that's my first thing I look at in the morning, so I'm quite happy about that. This lady has a palette picture. Did I say that already? I don't think so. Anyway, there's a lot of water here, of course, and we get a lot of water in the springtime, which I'll talk about a little bit later. But it's all nice. Now we have had in the past problems with people accessing with snow machines and ATVs. At one time this trail was a mess until we decided, we say members of Valley East Trails decided we were going to renovate it, or recapture it, or restore it, whatever the word you want to use. And we did. A lot of work, lots of money, which we're grateful we got through Rainbow Roots. The people are responsible for trails in Sudbury. And we took out the evidence the best we could of ATVs, especially. You make a real mess, and by filling and scraping and putting soft basically wood chips down, and that's it. So it's been good. It needs pretty well constant care, because we do have a problem with vandals, which I'll indicate as we go along. But anyway, it was an old trail restored almost the way it had been, but there was an alteration which I'll point out, which I get to, because of the original trail strayed onto private land, and this is actually city-owned land. It's owned between the city and the conservation authority, and right now I couldn't tell you which part's which, and it doesn't really matter. Now this is the next bench. This was privately installed by an equestrian group we were connected with. This group had since closed out, and you can't see their plaque has been damaged. This was a gate installed to prevent snow machines from coming through, but this year someone has wrecked it. It was just repaired this year, and it's wrecked again. Even though the land in the front of me here is private land, and actually this is private land, people will still trespass. Well, this section here is what remains of an old gate system which was pulled out, and I've just kind of left it there. So there's a ditch there. Right on the other side there's a road that's used by the farmer that owns this property. Now you may observe there's lots of animal tracks here, some wild, some dogs, lots of rabbits. I'm trying to remember. I think it might be the fox, but I could be wrong on that, who has a run, and his track is very straight, 1 foot in front of the other, and I think that's it. One thing I had learned in one of my 4-hour courses or whatever it was on animal tracking, that a wild animal will generally be going in a straight line. That is because they're looking for food. That's their function. A dog, on the other hand, it's not looking for food. They're at home, they're with their masters, they get well fed, and so they run all over the doggone place. So that's kind of one of the hints. What am I looking at? Because there's so many dog-like creatures around now. I am told that there's been coyotes seen. Now see, here's where the trail goes off on the farmer's land. Now a little ways up there's another road that goes towards the river, actually heading south, which is the direction we're going in now. That was part of the original trail. Like I say, it's on private land. So this trail here is very much a new trail, and I can take credit for its design. It was kind of fun, actually, going through and marking trees and then just cutting it out. Had to figure where I was going, and luckily enough someone came out to survey it a year or so ago and said I was within 50 meters or whatever of the farmer's land, so it was more good luck and good planning. So okay, we're on our little private trail here. Excuse me, I meant the new trail, not the private stuff. Not private, but... So this is one of our barriers to machinery, and this had to be rebuilt several times. People, I'm not sure why they do it. They just destroy things. And of all the gates that we've installed, I call them gates, fixed gates, fences, whatever. Many of them have been destroyed. This crappy looking thing is my fault, and yet it did its turn. We were getting people that were shortcutting, and then they were even coming from the direction that we're pointed at now, and I had put this up, and lo and behold, it stopped the problem. We started the rebuild in 2008, and it was finished mainly by me in 2009. During that time, we've had two major floods where the water has come up as high as here. Now it's not as high as its historical high, but when we get a runoff in the spring, depends on the snow and that, and rain and all the rest of it. Now we put in a culvert to handle stuff, which I'll point out where it is because it's covered in snow, and that's worked pretty good. We had to put in a smaller second one a couple of years ago to handle all the water and not wash out the trail. At one time, and before we got started, you couldn't go right around sometimes a year because you had to cross over some water. So I say we eliminated that, and for the whole idea, this is a year-round trail. You can see it. You can't see anybody else's marks, but maybe walkers and dogs and that. But there's occasional snowshoer, or myself included, and occasional skier. Summertime we get bikers and hikers, and all times we'll get families pulling wagons or sleighs, and we're going to come to the river, and I've even seen a couple of times kayakers. Oh yes. We often get bird watchers, and there's apparently a lot of birds. Not being a bird watcher, when a fellow told me there was over 60 varieties, I was quite amazed. I don't seem to see anything, but we got woodpeckers galore and grouse, and that's pretty well chickadees, of course. So here we are on the north side of the Whitson River. This is still city land, private land across the road, and they've put houses in there. The last few years, so far, hasn't been a big problem. Water level here really fluctuates, and come spring, it really moves fast. Almost lost my puppy dog in there a couple times. It moved that fast. So, and then it'll get right down to ankle deep. During our last major flood, was it last spring? Jeez, time goes. This was all washed out. What we had happened is not so much a washout, but sand from the river came up and got dumped on the trail and sort of buried the wood chips. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about it. We can't get any work done on it, so the city loves to brag and put our trail system, but they really don't do anything to help us. So now we can see some on the ice. You can see some footprints from I'd say wild animals, and they go quite a ways. Yesterday I was here, it was all frozen, but the other day I was here, there's lots of open water, and this river goes like that. It's the Whitson River, if I haven't said that already. Okay, now we're approaching a spot. This is one of the gates that they tried to get out of, but I couldn't even get it in. I had it out for a different reason, and I putting it back in with one of these metal spikes because it got jammed, so it couldn't go in. It looks a bit like hell, but on the I guess they couldn't get it out. So this is kind of a we're going over this large oh, good God, culvert. I don't know if it can be seen. The end of it could be seen through this. It's that black spot. But so that we put that down after the first flood that found it almost down the river. This area here gets quite flooded out, and it floods back to the that wetland, and that becomes, I guess, more swamp than wetland. And this also became quite a mess because of the sand that came over. A lot of the chips went down here, and ideally it'd be good to be able to bring them back, but like I said, we don't have the benefit of any help from the city. So what I'm afraid of when I can't do this anymore, and I'm approaching that now, this is going to be a revert back, and you know, the city doesn't seem to respect activities other than soccer and hockey, so seem to forget that elderly people need their own exercise. Well, they talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk, and that's pretty usual. Now here's a trail, looks like a rabbit, just taking his time. And it's funny, for all the rabbit trails around here, I see very few. And the other thing I don't see, there's lots of grouse in here. And I learned that these guys sleep under the snow. So ever since learning that, I keep looking for where they may have come out of the snow without any luck. So I'm a bit disappointed. Here's some open water here. And if it stays this cold, and it's apparently supposed to, it'll stay like that for quite a, well, it'll probably freeze over. That's what I meant to say. Now here's another split in the trail. Going to our right, you can see this. It's actually a shelter, sun shelter. Can you listen here? Anybody hear the woodpecker? Anyway, this year we got some picnic tables. I don't know if they left them there on purpose or forgot them. We're not going to question that. It only took several years to get the darn things. This is the third bench. This is one that my family paid for and had installed in memory of my wife. And you can't see it from here, but the fourth one is down. You just sort of see it. I'm not gonna go that way. I don't know if I can pick it up or not. That was another one, the second one installed by Councillor Dupuy. Councillor Dupuy also paid for that for that gazebo. Out of what they like to call their slush funds or whatever the hell it is, and people complain about it, but in this area we've got benefit from both our councillors and for money that we wouldn't ordinarily get. So, you know, some people have to think about these things. It depends on the councillor. I guess some are worse than others, of course. Okay, now this is the other trail that carries on the proper trail, so we'll continue our walk here. Now this is that old section of trail that people insist on still using. I try to discourage it. It's underwater much of the year, and while it's part of the original plan, I abandoned it, and I had put barriers up in both ends, but people have pulled them down, and why they do that I don't know, but the idea is to try and let Mother Nature fill everything in. Here's another shot of that gazebo from the proper trail. We're now coming on to what was once a main road into the area. Still wide. We've used it during some construction work, and the city has used it to come in with lawnmowers and stuff. And it has been well flooded out several times. After the first flood, I built it up quite a bit, but even at that, it became quite an event. So here we are at the South Trail head, which means we've made a complete circuit, and we're about to go out back to the car. I'm about to have a battery failure, and so I'm happy to hopefully this works out when I put it on my computer. But congratulations, you just had a tour of Langdon Park Trail.